My name is Betty Hu, and I grew up in Sydney, Australia. Moved to the States when I was 16, so now I'm living in New York. I was a cello player. I started learning cello when I was 4, from being at all-girls private school in Sydney, playing cello, and then I got into performing arts high school in Michigan. So I ended up just like making a lot of friends and practicing way less than I probably should have. Slowly figuring out that singing and songwriting was definitely like where I needed to be. The first EP, The Movement, when we put that out, it was very much an accumulation of kind of 2 or 3 years of working with my producer, Peter Thomas. Started with my singer-songwriter songs, and he was like, you have way too much energy, like to park and bark and like sing a song that you wrote about someone breaking your heart. And so then we kind of moved on being like, okay, well, if I have too much energy, how can I figure out a sound of music that totally represents who I am without going so far into the pop realm that I feel like totally manufactured and not like the music's true to who I am. My band is just like the best in the whole world. All 3 of them are Berklee kids that I have been friends with the whole time I've been at Berklee. And when I started kind of putting together my band before I finished up at Berklee, I was like, I have this whole pool of musicians to pick from. And it just so happened that like 3 of my best friends at Berklee were also like 3 of the most talented musicians that I know. So I have Lauren Fuller, who plays keys for me. She's from Massachusetts. And then my drummer, Derek, is from Arizona, and he kind of looks like Adam Levine. And then my bass player has like her own fan club. I'm like pretty sure someone started a Facebook page for her. Her name's Jamila. She's like this short little like nugget of like she just like rocks out really hard during the show, and she's like always grooving and like dancing around and just kind of being dumb, and she like doesn't really take herself seriously. And she's like, they're all just like crazy, talented, just makes me sick kind of musicians. So we have a lot of fun, and we all get to wear these like matching sweaters that my mother made that have like a little BW on the side. I like can't imagine being on the road with anybody else. That's the nice thing about being a solo artist, is like having a band that you like trust and love deeply, because we get to have a lot of fun on the road. I think the thing about retelling a story in the way that in a song form is that if it's a really good song, you can sing it every day and have it mean something different to you and have the song grow with you. For a song like Somebody Loves You, I wrote it about this guy that I was dating, and he wasn't really paying attention to like how deeply I felt about him. And now to me it's just like it's totally different. And now it's totally about an expression of love and having it be really that simple. You know, it was a lot of me just having to grow emotionally and live in my relationships. So all of the songs are very much a reflection of where I am, and they're kind of like snapshots of times and relationships in my life. The Somebody Loves You music video is really funny now. I made it almost a year ago, And it's super interesting for me to now look back at it, because I feel like I look totally different in it, you know, it's all just like crazy. It was really fun. We wanted it to be kind of Footloose Flashdance inspired. We wanted it to be, you know, we wanted it to match sonically what the sound was. You know, we don't want to drive the 80s thing too far home, because it's like I'm not actually trying to be Cyndi Lauper, but like there's definitely a part of that in the vibe. It didn't end up being like an 80s throwback intentionally. It kind of just happened that way, and then later we looked back and it just like felt retro, because I think I really connect with the joy in the music of the 80s. When we were talking about making the video for Somebody Loves You, the director and I, Evan Savitt, he and I talked a lot about whether or not we wanted there to be a man, like a male love interest in the video. Because we thought it was kind of like too easy to put a male, you know, it's like, sure, the song's about love, it's called Somebody Loves You. And we thought it would have been, it would be nicer to have me and my girls. It made more sense for us to having like these girls that were my friends, and it's kind of like, you're gonna miss us when we're gone, because we're all like badass ladies, and we're all like here waiting for some guy who may or may not show up to this party, and we're having fun either way. Spencer had emailed Ethan asking, my manager, asking for permission to use the song. He was like, I'm just doing this cute little thing. It's like not super, we're not releasing it commercially. I'm just proposing to my boyfriend. It's gonna be really sweet. And then, you know, 6 months later, or however much long later, when he got the version of the video, he like texted me freaking out, and he sent it to me, and then I like openly weep in a hairdressing salon as I'm like watching it, because I'm like an emotional wreck. I didn't know anything about it, and I was just like so moved by even thinking about the fact that someone would use a song that I had written as like the soundtrack to the rest of their lives, because that's in some ways like their song. You know, when they think about like, oh, do you remember when you proposed to me with this crazy, there was this huge elaborate proposal, telling their kids about like the huge proposal that happened, and they're like to a song, and if the kid's like, what song is that? Like that's a huge moment in their lives, and to have my song be the song behind that, it was crazy. And they had that, they're going to Australia for their honeymoon, which I felt was appropriate. My like homeland, you know. They're just the sweetest, and I was really like touched by that. You know, a full-length album is very much on the horizon for me, probably sooner rather than later, I would think. I think I'm excited about having more material available. I think it's kind of hard when you have 4 songs out. People cycle through them really fast and wish that you had more. And I also think that I have a lot more emotional depth to share at this point, because those songs came out a year ago, and a lot has happened. So I think that's what I'm really looking forward to, is having more to give, and have more to connect with people on, because that's really like the only reason I do what I do, is when you like play a song and have someone say like, oh my god, that totally happened to me, and I'm like, right, me too, I know, like I feel you on this. So I think I can't wait to have more of those connections and more content, so that more people can have that. I'm Betty Who, and look for me on Last.fm.